Hello, it's Boyd here. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a guide on Princess Ky'veza and how to solo her. There are a couple of key mechanics that you need to completely master, and I will give you some tips on how to do so. So the first mechanic, and maybe the hardest mechanic to get initially, is the Dark Massacre effect that's going on right here. And basically the way I deal with it is, if we just forward to this beginning of the encounter. So there will be these massacres spawning around the screen, and initially they will look blue. So you can see there was a blue circle, and now it's gone red, and you can see there's a blue one spawning right here under my toolbar. And after this line, you have to look at this line. After you look at it, you will have to look at the next mask. And while this mask is the next one, you can see this is going to be the next one after. So one thing that you need to keep in mind is the position of the mask. So we have 1, 2, 3. And something that I found really useful when I was doing this is to do an internal count. So, for example, when I did this, I would have said 1, 2, 3, and in my head, in my peripheral vision, I'm seeing this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. But so I've done 1, 2, 3, and this is 4, 5, 6. There's only 3 left here. Sorry, there was 4 left. So yeah, just do an internal counter of 6. And always keep an eye on where the next one is going to be spawning. And the other thing, the easiest way to actually do this mechanic is to simply turn your camera towards the mask. So I'll show you right here. So right here, you'll see I turn my camera and look directly at the mask, and I move forward a little bit, and I've stopped moving now. Now I'm just turning my camera, and I'm going to look at the next mask, and I will simply move forward a tiny bit or move backwards, whichever one works. But as long as you face your camera and press forward or back and nothing else, you will be completely safe. So you can see just after that's gone, I'm already looking at the pointing my screen here. I'm going to just move forward or move back, and then I'm going to get ready to look at this one as fast as I can and press forward or back. I'm pressing back. Pressing back is better as a melee hero, probably ranged as well. Because if you go back, then Ky'veza will kind of go on top of you, and you can keep pressing your DPS cooldowns while this is happening. If you're standing here, if you go forward, then Ky'veza is behind you. You're pointing here, and you can't actually attack Ky'veza. So pressing back might be better, but really DPS is not very important in this phase. Getting the 6 masks is the most important thing to do here. So yeah, very simple. To break it down, look at the next mask. So right here, we have this one that we're going to be looking at, but I'm going to be preparing to look at this as soon as I can, and I can see this is going to be the next one, third one here. So you need to basically 1, 2, 3 coming up, and internally do a count up to 6, and that should help out. So the next mechanic, and the other thing to keep in mind, there's 4 mechanics really, but 3 of them are active ones. So this is Dark Massacre, this is Nexus daggers, and Nether Rift. So I would get some kind of cooldown tracker, because you really need to know when you can DPS and when you want to prepare for the next event that's coming up. So next thing I want to talk about is Nexus daggers. So let's see if I do it here. I don't do it here. I'm just going to dodge normally here. But one of the best ways I've found to do Nexus daggers, should be coming up here, is, let me see if I do it here. Yeah, I kind of do it here. So to understand Nexus daggers, let's just rewind a little bit here. So Nexus daggers will spawn daggers from Ky'veza initially. So it'll always start from Ky'veza, and then after Ky'veza you will get little apparitions all around the map, and they can really spawn anywhere really. but the first one will always be from Ky'veza. So your position respective to Ky'veza. So I started out, that's from before. So I started out here, and I've just moved up a little bit. So she is doing her first cast in this area. So one of the best ways I've found to easily do this mechanic is to go away from Ky'veza. So if I'm standing here, I'm gonna follow one of these lines and move away from Ky'veza. And if you just keep dodging away and away and away, it makes the mechanic a lot easier. The other thing that I've had success with as well is if we start off here, what we need to do, so the most important thing is to look at the countdown. So you need to see the countdown is coming up, and when you have 1 or 2 seconds, you need to start thinking about how you're moving. First one's going to be in front of her, like this always. So the other method I've had success with is to move away in a circular direction, like this, or move away in a circular direction, like this. I mean, if you're a gamer, you can just dodge, and it isn't too bad because right here you can start positioning here, and you can position in ways where you just move back, kite back slowly, and you can do this mechanic normally. But the only issue is in the instances that you're kiting back like this, and a clone spawns here, and the lines are like this. So at this point, you can't really see anything around yourself. You can't see the old lines, you can't see anything. So your only option really, if you're here, is to move through the clone into this position. But that's the one reason why, if you're not moving too much, if you're just going back and forth in place, when the clones spawn right next to you, it becomes very difficult to see any of the other lines. So the method that I've had most success with, and if you have a class like VDH and you have Infernal Strike, what you can do is just before you see Nexus daggers coming out, so say Ky'veza is here and you're here, I would just straight up Infernal Strike parallel to one of these lines further away, right here. But I would have it ready. I think I will do it later on in this video, and I'll point it out when I do. But personally, the way I did it is to move away parallel to one of these lines, away from Ky'veza, and as you move further and further out, it makes the kiting a bit easier. This, I didn't really cheese it too hard, I just did the mechanic, but right there, you saw that the clone spawned very close to me, and I had to move away from the clone, so I made that a bit harder than it needed to be. So this is one of the other mechanics. I don't really count this as a mechanic where you have to really do anything. It's really just to look around and see and track Ky'veza. So one tip I'd give here is to have a macro, have some way to hide your UI. So for example, I have hide UI bound to something, well, I'll never press like Alt Z. So I completely stop moving here. I will position my camera so it's right in the center, and I will hide my UI. Because you don't need to look at anything else, you don't need to worry about anything, and all you have to do in this phase is see where the text is, where Ky'veza is, and you want to track this Ky'veza throughout this movement. So the way Ky'veza faces, so you can see she's facing this way, it does seem to indicate where she goes. Okay, she didn't really do it there. Let's see if she does it there. So she went from right to left, and you saw her body turn left, and then she dashed, and then she turned left here, and she's dashing now here, and you can see she's facing this way, and then she dashed this way. It's not the best way to track her, to look at where she's going to face. The best method I've had is to, okay, this might sound weird, but it's just to, how do I say it? Kind of squint my eyes towards the Ky'veza I'm looking at, and slowly move my head up and down to wherever she's going. And this is something you just have to practice and get better at. You can, for example, what you could do is just watch this video here and follow her yourself. So right here, just follow Ky'veza. She's up here. So, did you manage to follow her? If you didn't manage to follow her, just practice that a few times. Other things I've done is look in the center of the map and follow Ky'veza with my peripheral vision. That is successful sometimes, but sometimes she moves directly opposite and gets a bit hard to track her. But do whatever method you have to, but pursing your eyes a little and focusing and moving your head up and down, while it sounds a bit weird, that did work very consistently for me. I think once I started to do this method, it didn't really mess it up ever, but this is something you'll have to really figure out. But it's not really a mechanic, it's just following. It's kind of like a memory game, like a Maven memory game day. So right here, so this is the example where, so right after the memory game thing, there will always be a period of about 7 seconds I found where you can just freely DPS. So here I'm using all my channeling abilities, like the Hunt, to get these casts out of the way, and this is just free DPS. But the thing you need to look out for is Nexus daggers follows this, and it's in 3 seconds. So right here, while I'm DPSing, I'm not even looking at any of this, I'm just looking at the cooldown here, and I have 3 seconds of DPS uptime. So I'm going to milk it to about 1 second, and now I'll have to think about dodging. So if I was doing it the easier way, Ky'veza is here, I'm here, so there will be the first blades, daggers looking this way. And what I would recommend is, if you have some kind of movement ability, to move parallel away from that and kite that way. Let's see if I actually do end up doing it here. Okay, I didn't really follow that there, but yeah, the other method that I do use sometimes is the going around Ky'veza method. So what I've done here is I'm kind of going to do something like this. So if you do a little circle around Ky'veza, you can kind of bait the clones around you in different ways, but because you're just constantly going around, it makes it a bit easier to clear. So I think I'm just going to be going around Ky'veza in a circle here. Yeah, going in a circle and going further away also is a nice method, but really you just have to dodge here and just have to get good. This is the other mechanic. It's not really a mechanic worth talking about. It's pretty simple. There's going to be one stationary circle, one on Bran, and you need to basically put this so it makes a triangle. It's kind of like a center of mass. So if you think of a triangle, right in the center of the triangle is where you'll end up, always. So the reason why it's good to understand how it works is because Bran is extremely unreliable and he dies a lot. So I think if we go to the complete start of the video, literally the first time I do this, so I'll dodge the daggers here, and the first time I think Bran will die for me here. So okay, so Bran doesn't exactly die. What he does is he goes up and he mounts up on this bird or whatever he's on, and he doesn't sometimes jump to where he needs to be. So right here you can see that Bran didn't go where he was meant to, so let's pause it right. Okay, so right here. So Bran should be here, but he's flying up here. So the reason I'm pointing out how the mechanic works, I mean, you could always just go to the safe spot and go into the circle, but there are, maybe like a 10-15% chance of Bran completely messing up. And I'm tank spec here, and I'm using Bran as DPS, so he's doing significant damage. So what you need to do is, if Bran does something stupid like this, you need to basically create a triangle now. I mean, the ideal triangle would be something like this, maybe, like a equilateral triangle like this, but this might be too far. So what you can do is you can look at where Bran is and look at the next circle, and you can just go, is it parallel to that, to here. So if you do this, if you do something like this, if you do center of the thing, you'll end up about here. There are extreme cases where Bran will die like next to this. So in this case, if you have two circles here, what you want to do is go opposite and far away as you can around. So if it was like this and Bran's died here, I would put the circle here and you'd end up in the middle. But normally, in this case, you just put it in the empty safe spot and you're fine. You don't usually have to think about it too much, but Bran does troll me here. So let's go ahead to, so we've done the memory game, and we're going to do daggers now, and after daggers there's the Nexus Rift. So just any other general tips? I think we've covered all the main mechanics here. Let's just walk over it a bit. Yep, so this is the Nether Rift. So right here is a very, very good time to DPS. Basically, for the next the entire suck and the period up to the suck is, I count this as free DPS. So from here, right after the daggers ends, you are pretty safe. The amount of time you have, so you can see there's a 4-second, you have 4 entire seconds to get to the right spot. And this is not really a difficult mechanic. So you can really milk DPS here. So a lot of the times what I do is I get into position, and you don't really want to be channeling anything too close to this. So you want to drop this and then start moving a little bit in. And once you're positioned here, you don't have to use any movement abilities. You will automatically go to the middle and you'll be here. So once you've dropped the circle, by the way, don't stand in the circle too long. It is a one shot. But once you drop the circle, you move out to about here. You don't have to press any movement abilities. Go ahead and channel whatever you want. Full cast everything, and this is just free DPS pretty much. So this fight is very, very reliant on knowing when you're able to DPS and when you need to focus up for a mechanic. So here, let's talk through the Dark Massacre quickly here. So we have Dark Massacre coming up, and the method we're going to use is, so we see this is going to be the first one we're going to be doing. So internally we're starting the count. So this is going to be 1, and we're going to start the count. 1, getting already ready, already putting my camera to look at the next one. And as soon as 1's happened in my head, I'm now looking, moving forward or moving back here. So I move back here. So yeah, moving back allows Ky'veza to come this way, and then you can still continue to attack her. You don't really have to worry about DPS in this phase. While it's quite nice to be able to DPS here and get just a lot of DPS consistently throughout the entire fight, you really just should focus on this mechanic. So right here, your brain should be thinking, so anything with a blue is in the future. So this is completely red. So 1, 2, 3. So you need to be able to look at the screenshot right here and know this is 1, 2, 3. And as soon as you can identify this, and you know that you need to look at this first, and then as soon as the line's gone through, your camera's already looking at this, and you know the next one's going to be here. And you need to basically, so right here, you see this is the first one. I'm going to look at this one next, and already here the next one's going to be spawning. So you need to be processing this very fast and moving your camera, moving forward and back. There are other ways of doing it which aren't as cheesy as moving your camera and moving forward and back. You can try to DPS and move around and kind of try to line up these lines with the center of your screen. So you're pretty much always lining it up this way, but then it requires a much higher reaction speed, and I find this method to be a lot easier, just more consistent. So yeah, right here, again, let's just talk through the tip here. So right here, I'm just gonna pause it after 6. So we're gonna have daggers right after, and so I ended up about here. So Ky'veza strategy thing. Remember, first one's always from Ky'veza. So here, what I'm trying to do is do a circle around her, maybe like this. And if you end up a bit further away as well, that can be a bit nice, because the next one's going to be, the next cast is Nether Rift, and a lot of times you can end up in the right spot because Brand will jump away from you. So if you move in a circular direction away from Ky'veza, or just circular, even a tight circle can be a bit dangerous, because if you have a clone spawning here like this and you end up here, you can just get a little bit dicey. Let's see what I do. Yeah, moving away from Ky'veza into the end. So I'm just gonna let this play out. I'm just gonna talk over it. So here, this is the complete normal rift. We just moved to the middle. Right here, we're full DPSing. I'm gonna send all my cooldowns. This is a very safe spot to DPS. There's nothing to really worry about here. And I'm constantly looking at the next timer. The mechanics that I was quite scared of the entire time I did this progression was Nexus daggers. That's the one that you really need to know it's coming up. 1-2 seconds. When this timer is 1-2 seconds, you need to be ready to go. The other mechanics, once you get good enough at them, it's quite consistent. But just Nexus daggers, I find, is a bit RNG. So here, we're going to be counting internally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just when you get to 6, you know you're safe, you have some damage window. But pretty much every time after Nexus, after the masks, you have you have so after the mask you have the Nexus daggers, and if you're ever caught unaware, I think right here I wasn't really aware of it, and I didn't pre-position correctly, I didn't start moving correctly, so here I'm just dodging normally. So if you ever find yourself not prepared and you have to just dodge, what I would recommend is looking for a safe spot. So right here we've had I think we're on the third, so we have one here, and one here. So this is the first one's over. Ky'veza did hers, and that's ended. But now we have 3 incoming. So to not get panicked here, what you can do is look for a safe spot here, here, and just go into that safe spot and stand inside it. Okay, that's quite obvious, but if you get another one here and there's a line through it, don't panic. Just wait, because you'll have 1, 2, 3 clones exploding until you have to deal with this line, and once those are exploded, you will have a very easy safe spot here or here. So if a new clone spawns and a line comes and you're covered, your position is covered, don't panic, because you knew this was a safe spot for the next 3. So just go into a safe spot and wait. Just wait for 1, 2 daggers come out, and then it will be very obvious where you have to go. Do not panic. The worst thing you can do in this position is try to use a movement ability or something to get out, because even if you try to use a movement ability, if you say this is the next one going out, you use a movement ability, you touch this line, you get clipped, you're dead. So don't panic, just go into a safe spot and wait. So I think that's what I'm about to do here. I'm going to go into that safe spot, and exactly the new lines started coming out, but I didn't panic too much. I waited for these 3 to go, and then that line was there, and I moved just across there. So when this is done in a high speed, you might be thinking it's a bit random, but really find a safe spot, stick to it, and see the new safe spot come out. That's how you would do the mechanic normally, if you're not doing some kind of cheats where you're running away from the lines or doing a little circle. But I find it's not really worth doing this mechanic normally, because it is extremely RNG. If one spawned right behind me and it was like this, I mean, what I can do is I can stand here and I can wait for these 2 to go and then move into this safe spot, but it just becomes a lot, because I think these are almost too fast. I think these might get nerfed. So yeah, moving in. And it's the memory game again, so hide UI is a very, very good thing to do here. And just see if you can follow Ky'veza. Did you follow her? So just play that back until you get it 5 out of 5 times. Really, really figure this out, because you can. This is a mechanic you can do right now. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to do it while you proc. So the Nexus dagger is right here. I think this is the method that I. So right here, I'm channeling, but I'm looking at the cast. So 1 second left. In 1 second, I'm gonna have to start to move. So here, I use the other method here. So I think I'm just straight running away from her, because I know if I'm pointing here, she's going to start casting like this, and I'm going to move parallel to one of the lines here. I think that's what I end up doing. Oh no, I'm doing the circle method here. Yeah, just if you move away in a circular position, you don't really ever end up having to think too much. So this is normal Nether Rift, free DPS. Just going to let this play out and point out anything else I think about and anything else that I've learned throughout this. One other thing, Bran does end up dying quite a bit, and while this sucks for DPS, the really bigger issue is that his body for the Nether Rift is messed up, and also this is extremely annoying when doing the masks, because this gets confusing. It looks like one of the masks is spawning there, but you just need to realize he's dead there, and don't overthink it. Don't get baited by Bran, because he's dead for the next 25 seconds. So I need to know that there's a red mark going to be here. Don't get baited by that. That's not a mask. And be very prepared for the Nether Rift. That's in 15 seconds. So there's going to be 10 seconds of Bran just being there. So I need to be already thinking that Nether Rift positioning needs to be different. So here, we're internally counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're safe. And always remember, after the 6th one, Nexus daggers is coming out here. So because I'm positioned here, if Ky'veza goes right now, it's going to be like this. looking at this, one thing you could do is Infernal Strike here. So this is the moving away from Ky'veza method. Or the other thing, I think the one I will end up doing is just go circle around her and go far away. So let's see what I end up doing. Yeah, I'm doing a circle. Okay, I've done a circle and Infernal leaped away. If you are going to use movement abilities when the lines are out, you need to have it precast. So you need to be basically at this point, you need to know where you're casting your ability and you need to know where you're going. So I have the idea here that it's going to come this way and I'm going to jump away. I'm going to jump super far away from her. Do not try to use movement abilities if you haven't thought it through. Don't just panic press a movement ability, because even if it might work one time, it will get you killed later in progression. So it needs to be preemptive, the way you're moving and the way you're positioning here. So Nether Rift here. So this is exactly what I mean about Bran being dead. So if I had done the normal positioning of just putting it here, actually in this method, it would have worked out pretty fine. It wouldn't be too bad. But say Bran had died here. If I put it here, actually it would have been fine too. So really, let's give a worse example. Say Bran is dead here. And I put the one here. It's basically, if you ever have them in a line or something like this, where you have circles like this, you will just die. There's no way you can outrun it this way. So here, what I'll be thinking of is one circle here, one circle here. So I want to look in the middle of these, and I want to put it as far away as I can. Ideally, I'd put it like here. That would be the ideal position. Let's see what I do. Yeah, so I'm going to go quite far. You can see I'm going further out than usual because it is a weird positioning. And there, with this, I'm going to end up just in the middle, just right there. And I don't need to press any buttons. I'm confident I won't die. I'm not pressing any movement abilities. I'm just casting abilities, and I'm doing free DPS. So yep, after this we're back to masks. And this fight is quite long. So one thing you can do, if you've picked it up from last season, is to use Eye of Kazan. I get to about 20 stacks, and I'm 20 stacks throughout this entire fight. So there's a lot of value coming out from Eye of Kazan. So see if you can track Ky'veza. Good. So if you were able to track her, that's very good. If you weren't, just keep watching it again and again. Really sit up on your chair and close your eyes and concentrate. Really think about it. Yeah, so so that's the method I've been talking about. I finally do it here. So this is the personal method I prefer right here. Let's just talk through it again. So I'm right here. Ky'veza in 2 seconds will do Nexus beam, Nexus daggers. What does this mean? It's going to look something like this. So I will look at this and I'm going to Infernal Strike. I'm starting here. I'm going to Infernal Strike away here. And if I move parallel to these far away, I think the way it works is the clones will spawn near where you started. Initially, the first 3 clones might be predetermined. I think they might be coming out already. So you don't have to worry about clones being right next to you. So let's see how it works out. So look at this. I'm already casting Infernal Strike. She's going to do Nexus daggers in 0.5 seconds. I'm ready. There's nothing to think about. So I moved away. And as you see, it's super easy to dodge here. Like, just look at the lines when you're far away. They're not close to each other. You have plenty of time to do it. So just look at the timer, jump away, and just, there's so much safe space. I find that they don't really spawn close to the edge, like right next to you. So I feel like that's one of the best ways to do it. Consistently do Nexus daggers, and that is the hardest mechanic by far. At least it was for me. So after this, it kind of becomes just going through the motions, doing the mechanics, not being scared of them because you know you can do it. And initially, you might be doing the fight and finding it extremely difficult. You're getting to like 90%, 85%, and you're just dying there consistently. That's not because you're not making progression, that's because you need to get these 3 mechanics that require to move and preposition down to a T. You can never make mistakes. You need to be 10 out of 10 on them, always. Once you get to that point, you can kill this boss. From 80%, you can get to 0. It doesn't matter what progression. It is a battle of attrition right now. In the week 1 of the season, we're not going to be killing this in 3 minutes. If it was a 3-minute fight, you could get lucky. Just pull it 100 times, you kill it eventually. But because it's a 12-minute fight, it is impossible for you to get lucky, and you need to grind out the mechanics until you are 10 out of 10. You will never mess them up. So even though your progression, you might be stuck at 80% for like 50 pulls, whatever, that doesn't matter. What you need to worry about is how well you're doing with the mechanics. And yeah, so the rest of this video is on my channel. The entire VOD of it, me doing it without pausing it, is on my channel. But the rest of this is just me doing the mechanics over and over again. And let's see, is there anything else to talk about? I'll point it out if anything comes to mind. Let's just let it play out. Yep, Nexus daggers, jumping away from Ky'veza, parallel. And we have, just this is free DPS right now. These rifts aren't too bad of a mechanic, and we're seeing Dark Massacre in 7 seconds, so we have pretty much a lot of free uptime here, a lot of free DPS. And now we're getting ready to pre-position our cameras, so we're going to be counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now Nexus daggers, remember, away from Ky'veza. I found the safest, yep, quite easy. And then we're going to do memory game, see if you can follow Ky'veza here. So, did you follow her correctly? So the hiding UI trick I find is extremely good. It really helps you focus down and to stop moving, center your camera, and this next to daggers, run away from her. But yeah, hiding UI and looking directly down and very consistently. Just have the same, look the same way every time. Have it consistent. Don't move, don't attack. You can't even attack. So you just concentrate and really focus up at that one point. It can be a bit daunting if you don't get initially, but if you focus up and you start just doing it through the video. So here we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then daggers, jump away. So remember, after the 6th one, daggers, jump away. Always get into that habit. And around this time, so right here, this is one of my best pulls, 35% or something. I think the best percentage I had before this was 10 before I killed the boss. So when you're getting to this percentage, you need to just breathe calmly. The mechanics will not get any harder. They are the same. Just focus up, do the mechanics. Do not greed DPS, do the mechanics. The boss will die eventually. Jumping away from Ky'veza after the 6th mask, and right here it got a bit dicey there in the corner, but it's quite safe. Memory game again, see if you can follow her. So right after the mask, a lot of free uptime, 7 seconds. But now looking away, looking to jump away, and if you're close to the edge, I hardly find this one next to you, behind you. And now it's just free DPS, so we can position correctly here, and we just have 10 seconds of DPS. So pop your cooldowns, don't have to worry about moving. Dark Massacre is next, and get ready to move your camera. So one thing is when you're getting close to the end, and you're like 25%, 30%, you can stop really trying to cheese DPS uptime at that massacre phase. If you're finding it difficult, just fully concentrate, look at them, don't worry about DPS. At this point, the worst thing you would do is to get DPS focused. 25% is still a lot. That's still maybe a couple of minutes, so just need to focus up here. So right here, Bran has died, something you need to be thinking about. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you are following along with the video, I really would recommend to watch the massacre phase and think about where the next one is and when the next one's coming. So something that I've built up while I've done this is I can identify where the next one's going to come with the blue circle. When I'm looking at something, I know the next one to look at, and then I know the next one to look at after that. So the 1, 2, 3. So right here, I know I'm looking at this one first, then this one, and then this one. You need to be able to add a glimpse, know you're going to be doing that to do this progression quite consistently, I found. So really look in your peripheral vision for the blue one. That's going to be the 3rd one. get ready to look at the first one. You're going to be changing your camera to the second one, and that's all you're thinking about right now. So I'm looking here already. Move forward or back. I'm going to start moving my camera here. I already know after this, I'm going to be turning my camera this way. The next one's here. You're not going to be consciously thinking about this, but once you do it enough time, it becomes subconscious, and you will be doing this consistently. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6. One thing I will say, really do get into the habit of counting 6. Before I was doing this, I'd get to 5 and I think it was over, and then you just die to one behind you. And that's honestly the worst feeling, dying to Dark Massacre, because once you're getting consistent at it, you will not ever die to it. You just need to respect the mechanic. Don't cheese up time too much on it. You can do it if it's feeling natural to you, it's not feeling like it's risky, but don't cheese up time on it if you're not 100% on how to do this mechanic. So yeah, we're going to be jumping away after the 6th clone, always. And here now it says the end game, 20% attrition, bots will die. So follow Ky'veza here again if you can. This one here, yeah. So, yeah, really, hide your eye, just fully concentrate. Don't be confident, you will get it. And then jumping away from Ky'veza for the daggers. Right there was a bit risky, but just take your time. If it's next to you, you have time for the other daggers to expire. Don't panic. Move once a safe spot appears. Don't panic. Okay, this is the end game now. Last 15%. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, daggers after, jump away. And right there was a bit dicey. Ran through the clone into a safe spot. And Brandon's alive, thank God. Last 13%. But don't think about DPS, just do mechanics. Right here, a lot of free uptime. We have a mass phase in 5 seconds. Nothing else to really worry about. These are all the cooldowns. Now, looking 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One thing I will talk about, it hasn't really happened this run. This is something I found does happen, and you need to be aware of this. So right here. So you can see that this is the one mask we're looking at, and the next mask is falling right next to it. This can become extremely confusing because sometimes this has happened maybe 5 times in my progression. The mask will spawn directly on the previous mask. So a lot of times, if you don't know where the next mask is, they can be stacked up. I've had ones where I've looked 3 times at the exact same mask. This can get extremely confusing. It's a bait, but do not be caught. Do not be caught by this mechanic because you know this can happen. So right here we know 1, 2, 3. But if I don't see this, right? If I don't see this, then what it means is that blue one there is the 3rd one. So this would mean it's 1, 2, 3. So it'd be the one right here. So it'd be 1, 2, 3. If I don't see this, it would be 1, 2, 3. And this is something you need to know and recognize it can happen. Do not be surprised if it does happen. Overall, I found this boss fight to be an extremely fair boss fight. There's nothing that, whenever you die, you know it's your fault. It's never, except for daggers when you're at the edge of one, but really it's, if you're not respecting the mechanic, you will just die to it. Even the masks, if you don't actively look at the line and position your camera, go forward or back, you will just die. It doesn't matter if you're kind of looking in the way, you need to really think about it and actively do it, not subconsciously do it. So right here, Princess Ky'veza is 7% and 6%, and I am right now completely shaking right now. I know this could be the kill, but I've died closest percentage point, and I am just completely locked in. I'm pretty much just looking at the timers here and just doing mechanics, I don't care about the fact that she's 4%. Do the mechanics correctly, boss will die. And 6, and then jump away. Very, very careful on the 6th one. Always jump away or leap away and do a circle, whatever you like. 3% here. At this point, it's free. So 2%, and I know really for the next like 10 seconds there's no mechanics. And the Dark Massacre, I'm not too worried about that either. I've really tuned this so I know how to do this one. It's just the Nexus dagger, so I really have 20 seconds to kill this boss, and that's not too bad. So at this point, I know it's the end game. Just concentrate up. Don't do any stupid, silly mistakes right here. How you could end your run is you're in here and you start casting something. 3-second cast, 2-second cast. And if you don't have any ways of stopping your cast, like you can press escape to stop your cast, but if you don't have any stop casting macros for any of your other abilities and you don't know what's happening, don't start casting at this point. Just respect the boss at this point. It will die. And that's the end game. Kill the boss here, and I felt extremely ecstatic after this. I was very happy. Overall, really good job by Blizzard to add content like this. I was pleasantly surprised, and this was an extremely fun progression. One thing I will note, you're probably all thinking about the Delve reward. Like me, if you're not too in tune with achievements and stuff, so what we need to do is unlock the new Delve seasonal mount, and then we will be able to equip our mount. So I don't think we even have the new mount yet. We have to wait for the next week's Delve quest. I think it's something like starting a new season, something like that. It's a purple quest. Once we do that, we'll get our Delve mount, and then we can get this new mount and start looking good with it. So thank you guys for watching. This is one of my first videos of a guide kind of form, and I didn't really find any videos like this really talking through every mechanic and someone talking through how they did it. While you can do the mechanics just raw and just do it like 100, 200, 300 pulls and just get it down, not really think about all this. But if you have some ideas about how to do it and some techniques, some of the techniques I've used here, you should be able to do it. Last thing, consumables. I was using a flask and some mana oils and sometimes eating food as well. You don't really have to worry about this too much. Our DPS is so low at this point in this season that you might reduce the fight by a minute or two. Other thing you can do is use drums if you're not a BL class, so I completely forgot to use drums, but you can also use drums. If you're a BL class, you're winning. I would recommend doing this on a tank if you can, if you have access to a tank spec that you're quite good at. DPS can do this, so I have tried this on Havoc, but every time the masks come out, there is a damage amp that happens, and I just found that I was pressing on my defenses, but it was just getting very dicey, and the damage I was doing was actually not even that much higher than what I have here on my VDH. So right now you can see I have a 1.1 million and 400k with Brand. So I'm doing about 1.5 million-ish damage, and I was maybe at like 2+ million on average with so much dodging on my DPS. So it wasn't really worth doing DPS, but later in the season, if you're doing 6-7 million DPS single target, the boss will be 7 times faster. So it will be like 2-3 minutes. So it should be a lot easier later in the season. You won't have to do too many rounds of these mechanics, but yeah, that's the end of the video. Nothing else for me to say. So thanks for watching the video to the end if you have. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe if you can, because I have really not made any videos like this. So if you do subscribe, then I will be incentivized to make more. So thanks a lot. Bye.